Today on Paranormal Insights, we're going to look at UFO disclosure in this decade.
And we have a question from Miriah. She wants to know what's up with that spiritual connection she seems to have with her very young daughter.
And we're also going to take a quick look at Binih Stones. I'm Joseph Ernest Martin.
And I'm Linda Potter.
And this is Paranormal Insights, where we bring you the latest and the best from the metaphysical world.
Here, you'll find insights to your questions, and we'll bring you answers from beyond the ordinary.
Linda is a hypnotist with a specialty in past life regression and guided meditation. She's also the author of a wonderful new book, The Miracle of Self-Healing.
A psychic for over 20 years, Joseph Ernest Martin is author of the international bestseller, The Quest to Row, and recipient of the Visionary Award of Excellence.
This topic for this show, oh my God, it's one of my favorites ever. It's all about UFOs.
I've had so much fun preparing for this and the reading that I've done and all the personal experiences that I've come across. I'm excited too.
Well, you know, I've talked to the Mutual UFO Network directors for the Bay Area and the Sacramento area too. And they were so thrilled that we're going to be bringing to light what is going to be happening in our lifetime.
It's a very exciting time, and a lot of people don't realize the connection with UFOs, extraterrestrials, and the whole gamut, and how it affects our life now.
If you are watching this in the United States of America, you know very little about what is actually going on with the topic of unidentified flying objects, or commonly called UFOs. The U.S. government believes that the population cannot accept or handle proof of extraterrestrial existence and has deemed such information secretly as a national security threat. Most Western countries have followed the lead of the United States and have kept UFO information classified as top secret until now. A growing number of countries have decided to release their top secret UFO evidence to the world. Chile released a video of a UFO flyby over their El Bosque Air Force Base in Santiago. This object was filmed by 7 different people from 7 different locations. The UFO appeared to fly by low and observe the military jets that are flying in military formation for their air show. Although the footage we have is a jerky motion to see, it is one of the most amazing and intriguing pieces of film yet released by a major world government. France was one of the first to open its official UFO files. Their first release of official UFO information started with the files dating back from 1954. There are over 1,600 sightings of UFOs documented by the French government spanning a 50-year period. Jacques Patinet, the aeronautical engineer that heads the team that investigates all non-identified aerospatial phenomenon, stated that of the 1,600 sightings, there are about 25% or 400 cases that have not yet been explained. These are just 2 examples from a growing list of countries that no longer want to be part of the UFO secrecy demanded by the United States. You may be surprised to know that the countries are Japan, Argentina, Chile, Peru, Brazil, Uruguay, Colombia, Venezuela, Cuba, Mexico, Canada, Italy, Portugal, Switzerland, Great Britain, Belgium, Germany, Denmark, Finland, Australia and Oceania, Sweden, Spain, England, and others have started the public disclosure process of their top secret files. No secret lasts forever. For example, on Friday, November 8, 1996, at the Taradón Air Force Base near Madrid, Spain, Lieutenant Colonel Enrique Rocamora walked down the corridors of the Aerial Operative Command, known as the MOA, and then headed for the Commander-in-Chief's Bureau. He carried with him the proposal for the declassification of the last UFO file in Group 1, still waiting for release. The documents transferred to the MOA for release comprised of 62 different UFO reports that covered a period from 1962 to 1991. Almost all current UFO cases reported still are classified as top secret. Only older cases have been released. This can be seen as the first wave of real UFO information to get the public comfortable with the idea that we are truly not alone in the universe and that we have been and are currently being visited by extraterrestrial beings. Pioneering researchers such as Jaime Maussan in Mexico, who compiles thousands of videos and photographs from around the world. Writers like Rosemary Ellen Gulley, who have written over 50 books about the shadow people. Robert Dean, who can easily be considered the father of UFO research, and Richard Hoagland, with his exposés on NASA and Mars, have been publicizing and exposing the truth about this topic for literally decades. This is an amazing time to be alive. The truth about UFOs and the existence of alien life will be coming out this decade. Even the Vatican officially declared on national television that extraterrestrial contact is real. And they did this no less than 5 times on national TV. Monsignor Belducci from the Vatican said that extraterrestrial encounters are not demonic. They are not due to psychological impairment, and they are not a case of entity attachment, but that these encounters deserve to be studied carefully. It's time to acknowledge finally that we have not and have never been alone in the universe. It affects us in a much bigger way than people know because we've been kept in the dark for so long. There has been so much happening on the planet, happening for thousands and thousands of years. You know, shows like Ancient Aliens highlight evidence that is found around the world that cannot be explained other than there has to be something else going on of a higher intelligence.
The entire subject of UFOs and disclosure is just as intriguing to some as it is a complete mystery to others. In a CNN Time poll taken 5 years ago, 80% of Americans think the government is hiding knowledge of the existence of extraterrestrial life forms. And 54% of these same people believe that intelligent life exists outside of Earth. And those are very large numbers. There are many opinions about why we've been kept from this knowledge of unidentified flying objects, and one of the most opinionated people working on the exposure of the secret is Stephen Greer. In 1993, Stephen Greer launched the Disclosure Project, an organization calling for full and open congressional hearings regarding UFO and extraterrestrial presence in and around Earth. One of his objectives is to gain congressional immunity from the security oaths of the military witnesses, that their information extends from photographic and radar evidence of UFOs to first-hand recovery. When we're talking about government disclosure, Greer makes a very valid point. And to paraphrase that point, he says that the idea that we may not be alone in the universe is a thought that many of us have entertained at one time or another. But we don't see it as a subject of practical importance. And the idea that any current evidence toward us being visited by non-human advanced life forms pales in comparison to our current everyday life concerns. And that's understandable. But what if there was a direct link from your everyday life challenges to the existence of non-human cultures and their direct influence on us? Might you then be interested in knowing more? Looking to the experts in this field can be quite illuminating. Experts with incredible experiences like Robert Dean, a respected 28-year veteran of the military. His story is quite extraordinary indeed, and it'll help you to gain an understanding as to why there's still a cloak on disclosure. After Mr. Dean was handed a highly classified book of research called The Assessment, he said he was shocked and stunned by the implications in that study. And that was 1964, and today he's one of the biggest proponents of disclosure. Scientist Michael Tellinger is another respected individual affecting the area of disclosure because of his discovery. Right down the street from where he lives in South Africa are ruins that he says are the birthplace of humanity. He says that the government of South Africa has kept the existence of these ruins, these energy centers, cloaked because of their implications of providing free, natural energy. His story is a compelling one with a direct connection to UFOs and alien existence. On a website called Educating Humanity, a chilling statement is made about disclosure. And it goes, "It is very clear that mankind is being prepared for disclosure. It is no coincidence that more than 20 countries have started partial or full disclosure. Also, comments and actions from the Vatican and the UN indicate that their so-called powers want some of this information to become public. The preparation progress is well underway, and it's not that difficult to connect the dots. The time frame for proof is expected to be late 2012 to 2014. Why not do some of your own research on this subject of disclosure and what's behind it? What you find might just launch you out of this universe into knowledge that will help you to see a much bigger picture." And I think we're getting to the point where people aren't looking at the woo-woo factor of this. They're starting to say, well, we hear about it so much, and it's pretty hard to deny the experiences that we hear from all, even our friends, that it's picking up the rug about it and it's being swept out now, and people are starting to entertain the thought that just maybe there might be something to this.
Well, there is a lot to this, just a ton. You know, even my father, who was in the military, I went to a party where he had friends from way back when he was young and in the military. And when they heard that I was a psychic and I was doing stuff, they actually told me stories of going down to meet and talk with, well, they didn't actually get to talk with them, but to see the ship that actually landed near the Air Force Base where they were stationed. The US government has officially stated that UFOs do not pose any security threat. Phil Larson from the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy was quoted at whitehouse.gov saying, "The US government has no evidence that life exists outside our planet or that extraterrestrial presence has contacted or engaged any member of the human race. In addition, there is no credible information to suggest that any evidence is being hidden from the public's eye. Yet, military people come forward to talk about their experiences, and a different story emerges." Bob Jacobs of the United States Air Force talked about a UFO that shot out a beam of light, effectively switching off a nuclear dummy warhead in testing. While the warhead was traveling at 1,100 miles per hour, the warhead tumbled to Earth and was destroyed. Captain Robert Solis, launch commander at the site of the largest nuclear missile field in the world at Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana, spoke openly about a UFO that shut down 10 nuke silos, rendering them inoperational. And the exact same thing happened at Echo Flight, approximately 25 miles away. Military officers are routinely threatened for violating national security and effectively silenced from sharing their information on UFOs. Only many years later do these brave men and women come forward to share the truth about what happened. During a press conference at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C., 7 former Air Force officers once stationed at nuclear bases around the country said that not only have UFOs visited Air Force bases, some have succeeded in disabling nuclear missiles stationed there. Leslie Keene, an investigative journalist and author of a new book, UFOs, Generals, Pilots, and Government Officials Go on the Record, said thousands of pages of documentation supports the officers' accounts. She spent the last 10 years researching UFOs and combing through thousands of pages of declassified government material. Clearly, with all the evidence released by other world governments and the people of our own armed forces now, after many years coming forward, it's clear that the US government has a stated policy for the public and a completely different secret policy that is still in place to keep secrets secret.
And don't you find, because of the work that you do, that people will come to you and they will say, I never told anybody this before because I'm afraid people are going to think I'm crazy. And yet, they tell you and it relieves them, and it's one more story out of how many that you've heard.
Which is why disclosure is going to make the world heal when the government finally stops lying to us about what's really happening with UFOs.
Good stuff to come. Just recently, I spoke with a friend of mine who told me about a UFO experience that she had, and I did not know this about her. She was driving in Connecticut, and she started to drive into the woods. It was very dark, it was at night, and she had gotten lost. And she was quite frantic. She didn't know what to do. It was before the systems that we have, the GPS systems. She said suddenly above her came a very large disc, and it hovered right over her car. And the funny thing is, she said she wasn't afraid, that it was a very odd thing, but she wasn't afraid of it. And a blue light started to emanate from this disc, and it started to illuminate the path in front of her, the road. And she instinctively followed it, knowing somehow that she felt they were trying to help her. And she was able to drive out of the woods following this illumination with this disc above her vehicle the whole way out to when she got back into humanity. And it disappeared just as quickly as it came. That's one story of so many that I've heard. I've had my own too, but that one I thought was quite special. It was very much a help to her, and we don't hear about that very often.
You know, because of being a psychic and having friends that are so into this, into the field, I'm privy to so much information, and so many times people come up and share this with me. You know, the disclosure that actually happens one-on-one right now. But I think it's just amazingly exciting that this kind of disclosure is going to happen in our lifetime. We've already seen miracles, I think, happen already.
And you know, people are always asking about what is the shift about and what is going to happen really. And I think you can't disregard the idea that there are other beings that are hovering around us, so to speak, that are going to come to light more. And it may just be part of this new time that we're ushering in. And it just pays to be open to what might be out there.
And even when the Mother Church comes out to say a belief in extraterrestrials does not conflict with a belief in God because God created all things, you know that this is an important, amazing development. And now we go to Nevada City and a quick look at Binih Stones.
We're here with Binih Preston, who has the most awesome array of stones. We know that stones have different attributes, and Binih has such a beautiful display here. I want him to explain a little bit about how he got into this and then what some of these stones actually do.
Well, I actually did get into working with stones because of the energies of the stones. This jewelry here I call craft jewelry, and then I also work with stones astrologically. And I don't bring the astrological stones with me, but all stones have energies. The amethyst and the lapis, these are stones that have been used for thousands of years.
Now, for example, what is an amethyst stone used for?
Well, I would say that it's a higher vibration. Even historically, it's been used by the Catholic Church. It's called the bishop stone. They would give it as rings for new bishops. But lapis, all stones all stones used to be called lapis something, and that's lapis lazuli, meaning stone with the color of the sky. Oh, and that, at one time, was the most precious stone. And it has an ancient usage for, you know, the qualities of it too.
Now, when I was in Egypt, I saw a lot of lapis lazuli, and as far as mining that stone, where is it mined from?
Well, it was such an expensive stone in those times because it came from Afghanistan.
I see.
And so it was, it had to go such a long journey to get there.
I see.
So it was the most precious stone. And very popular too, though, in Egypt. The Chief Justice in Egypt wore a badge of lapis, as showing his authority.
It's so wonderful. Now, You have some very beautifully well put together pieces here. I'm very impressed by the quality of what you have.
Oh, thank you.
If someone wants to get in touch with you, they want to take a look at your product, how do they do that?
Well, we go out to shows like this. We also have a studio that's outside of Nevada City, and that's about 15 miles up Tyler Foot Road. And then I'm building a website. That website is Northern Lights Gemstones, and there's actually building two websites, one for our Vedic astrological stones as well.
So if somebody wanted to have an astrological reading using the stones, you will do that as well?
Yes, on the Vedic astrology website, my wife does readings, and I work with those stones and setting them.
Do you have a phone number people can reach you at?
Yes, it's 530-478-7553.
Thank you so much. You've got a wonderful display here.
Thank you.
And now we have a viewer question from Miriah.
Hi Linda, hi Joseph. My name is Miriah, and I feel a really strong spiritual connection to my baby Roxy, and so I was wondering if we knew each other in a past life, and if we did, what our relationship was.
When I look at the message in your cards and from my guides, the first thing I want to tell you is it appears to me that you and your beautiful baby have had 4 lifetimes together. That can seem like quite a lot. In other lifetimes together, things haven't been always quite so happy. They've been a little bit discordant and difficult. There's been a problem with communication. In this lifetime, of course, you have mother and child, so you have that age separation in maturity and knowledge. But this is the lifetime that's meant to be happy and joyous and just a lot of fun. I have to tell you that in other lifetimes, you and your child have been more the same age and have suffered the same kind of difficulties at the same time. You could almost say that this is going to be kind of like a reward lifetime for the two of you. You're also going to find that the two of you, even though there will be other family members around, the two of you are going to be close and remain close and actually be a very tight unit regardless of who else is around. I want to mention that I see this lifetime as being a good flow, not a lot of dramatic change, and a good pacing for both of you. Now, if you were going to ask me also, what's something that you could teach your beautiful young child in this lifetime that's going to be really helpful, it's going to be all about learning how to handle money, what money is, what money isn't, and learn responsibility around money. If you can do that, you're going to be doing this child a wonderful, wonderful service. Now, you guys will be together again in another lifetime. But I keep getting prompted from my guides to say that when you're both on the other side in this next round, you're going to be there for a while because you're going to want to have actually fun together on the other side and really confer and plan the next lifetime you both come into being. Don't be surprised if next lifetime you're the child and your child is the parent. That happens quite a bit too. I have to tell you, this is a wonderful, fantastic set of cards. I want you to know that this is going to be a fun, joyous experience this lifetime. No sorrow, you guys have already done that. And the lessons learned are going to be the synchronicity and connection of love between the two of you. I feel so joyous seeing this message for you today, and I predict that this lifetime is going to be fantastic for both of you.
Miriah, there's nothing like having a child and feeling that strong connection that you do with yours. It's so interesting because when each child is born, they have a specific energy unto themselves. Even twins, as they sit there, and as a mother or even a father, you're able to pick up on that difference that there is between both children, and it's totally energy that they have. Their personality starts to show even as an infant, but as your baby starts to get a little bit older, she's going to start showing you kind of little flags of who she was to you in another place and another time. She may be very clingy to you, or she may be very independent and put you away from her at times, kind of like she's marking her ground, let's say, as babies do. By the time she reaches about 5 years old, 5 to 7, you're really going to know who she is. She's going to be fully coming into that person she was in another lifetime and pinging off of your energy and what you were to each other, and it will be very evident to you. Now, if in a past life she was your sister or a best friend, you'll find very soon when she's a toddler, maybe 2 or 3, she's going to assume a seat next to you. She'll draw when you read, or she'll read when you read, she'll garden when you garden, but you'll do the same things because she's going to be tagging alongside. However, if a past life had a little bit of adversity in it, you may find that she's a tad bit argumentative when you tell her what she needs to do. And she's just forgetting that this is then, and that was then, and this is now, and that was then. But the awesome thing about this is that the relationship that you have with her will start to show. It will start to show itself by the time she's 5 years old. And no matter what she was to you, whether she was your sister, your aunt, your mother, you're going to know that very, very soon. So hang in there and enjoy the ride.
You know, I don't think there's really anything more beautiful than a mother and child together.
There isn't, and what I like about that question is I like how the mom is really picking up that there is something going on here between her and her baby. That's a wonderful thing.
And she's so open energetically to the idea of past lives. That's going to be making raising a child so much easier.
And a benefit for that baby. There's no question that baby will gain such great strides in this life because of her mother's great insight.
Miriah, you're wonderful. We hope we were of help. We want to address your topics and answer your questions. Send us your topics, we'll research them, give us your questions, and we'll answer them. We're so easy to find. You can find me at joseph@questtarot.com or at my website, questtarot.com.
And you can find me at sightforhealing.com or email me at linda@sightforhealing.com. You can watch this program on Comcast Channel 17 in Northern California and on accesssacramento.org the second and fourth Thursdays of the month at 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And don't forget to watch our companion show with host Donna Wilberg the first and third Thursday of the month at the same time.
You can also find us on Facebook. Just search for Joseph Ernest Martin or Linda Potter, or our fan page on Facebook, Paranormal Insights. You can also find us on Vimeo. We have our very own channel called Paranormal Insights, and you can search for us on YouTube, Joseph Ernest Martin, Linda Potter, or Paranormal Insights.
We want to hear from you so we can bring you our paranormal insights and answers from beyond the ordinary.